Hello fans and friends across the universe, welcome to my YouTube channel From Me to You. My name's Georhe Smith and today I want to talk about my favourite George Harrison penned Beatles song. It first appeared on this album, the 1969 release Yellow Submarine, and the song is called It's All Too Much. It's All Too Much was played and recorded live on the 25th of May 1967, just a week before the Beatles released their Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album. Producer George Martin was absent from the session, and this allowed the Beatles a little bit more time and freedom to jam around the idea of It's All Too Much. But to this day, it remains unclear as to who plays which instrument on the track. Safe to say that Ringo is on drums. George Harrison himself said that he was sat at the Hammond organ, and in an interview with George over 30 years later, he said that Paul was playing guitar, which means that John must have been playing bass, and that has caused some debate among Beatles fans. George Harrison explains in his 1980 book, I Me Mine, that It's All Too Much was written in a childlike manner from realisations that appeared during and after some LSD experiences, and which were later confirmed in meditation. He also said in another interview that it was the awakening and realisation that the important thing in life is to ask, who am I, where am I going, and where have I come from? Another thing that's unclear about It's All Too Much is, what does John Lennon actually say at the start of the song? I'm going to go with To Your Mother. John often referenced his mother, and it sounds like that, but it's interrupted by this howling guitar part and feedback, and then the Hammond organ comes in and it sounds like a light's going on. That bit's really cool. And then the hypnotic beat, Ringo plays some clever drum fills, and a simple but effective guitar riff opens the song as George starts singing It's All Too Much. The first verse opens with, when I look into your eyes, your love is there for me, and the more I go inside, the more there is to see. This is seen as a straight love song to his wife Patty, but considering the LSD experience and the trips that George had been through, there's definitely a double meaning here when you read them lyrics. And listen for that distortion and that clatter around George's vocal when he sings that first verse. That's really cool. And then onto that uplifting and joyous chorus. It's all too much for me to take, the love that's shining all around you, everywhere, it's what you make, for us to take, it's all too much. So triumphant, and we're on to a winner already. Onto the second verse, floating down the stream of time, of life to life with me. Makes no difference where you are or where you'd like to be. This shows George's maturity as a songwriter. It's a very knowing and sophisticated lyric, but listen out for the guitar parts and that rumbling bass around George's singing on that second verse. Is it John, is it Paul on guitar? I don't know, but it's absolutely fantastic. And then that takes us on to the slightly different second chorus. It's all too much for me to take, the love that's shining all around here. All the world's a birthday cake, so take a piece, but not too much. You know, there's enough for everyone. And that leads us on to the first instrumental passage, led by a fine guitar solo. Ringo does some great work around the drums here. That gulping bass, that's really cool. And the vibrant horns make an appearance here, and they are an absolute highlight of this song. And at this point in the song, it's in full swing and the band just sound fantastic. The horns were overdubbed at a later point, but altogether it just sounds amazing. And then the song simmers down for the third and final verse, where George sings, sail me on a silver sun, where I know that I am free. Show me that I'm everywhere and get me home for tea. And I really like that verse because, as daft as it sounds, George is sharing his LSD experience with us. He said that one minute you'd be doing one thing in another room, and then the next minute you'd be sat at your dining room table having your evening cup of tea. So I thought that was very funny. And back to the wonderful chorus, it's all too much for me to see, the love that's shining all around here. The more I learn, the less I know, but what I do is all too much. Great lyrics. The first chorus is then repeated, and you can really hear Paul taking the high harmony here as he sings it with George, and I really enjoy that. I really enjoy Ringo's creative and innovative drum fills. He plays with such freedom on this track, and it really is great to hear. And then a line is taken from the Mersey's hit single Sorrow, when John, Paul and George all sing together, with your long blonde hair and your eyes of blue. and another lyric that could be aimed at George's wife, Patty. But the horns reappear there. They sound absolutely fantastic, joyful. And then an undecipherable vocal from McCartney where it sounds like he sings, "You're too much, can't quite make it out." And that brings us on to the second instrumental passage and the final part of the song. That hypnotic beat comes back in, the chanting of too much, too much. Great harmonies. You can really hear Paul here, and I love that part. And that rumbling bass comes back in. The guitars here are loose and flashy. Ringo's whirlwind drumming around it all. The trumpets sound a little bit distant, a little bit wayward, and it all sounds like it's getting a little bit out of control. The chanting of too much as it starts to fade out. Love that guitar sound at the end. Absolutely brilliant. And yeah, the song fades out, and wow, what a song. It's All Too Much, a song tucked away on the Beatles' Yellow Submarine soundtrack, and it's an absolute joy. I love the performance of the song. Like I say, recorded live, the band at the peak of their powers, Sgt. Pepper's just about to be released, and they're getting restless. They're in the studio jamming things out, and then out of that comes this psychedelic masterpiece, a song of its time and ahead of its time, and definitely a top 3 Beatles song for me. Of all the Beatles songs, I think the term hidden gem applies most to It's All Too Much. But let me know what you think of the song. How highly do you rate it? Please leave your comments below. I'll be very interested to read what people say about this song in particular. Please give the video the thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Please ring the notification bell for future uploads. Subscribe to the channel. There'll be lots more to come. But thanks as always for watching. See you next time.